Hi, Mom. Alright, so it's 4 days till my birthday, and I'm waiting for a miracle. Now, I've got these things. I've been explaining law to everything about law, and you know what I'm saying? Because I am the law. I've explained law down to its actual definite, and things are getting desperate to the point where they're doing what they're fucking doing have been, and I knew they would because they do every single time. So we're recording everything, and basically, this is what is it? A constitutional. This is a constitution video for YouTube. A constitution rights and a violation of whatever. You know how they do the amendment rights one or whatever not. This is gonna be one of those. Helping you guys and everybody of my YouTube Freedom Fighter. It's going to be Freedom Fighter 10125 at Gmail. These are all my videos doing all the constitutional rights, civil and procedural rights, the Bill of Rights, and all of our amendments. So yeah, the Constitution's first though. That's going to be my favorite. The constitutional rights because, well, one thing that people have forgotten is basically everybody takes an oath to actually uphold the Constitution. The Constitution was something that we put in place. We didn't want it, but, you know, George Washington and those Masons were freaking headstrong on freaking trying to get us so that we can all adhere to one power. One order where I actually did research and I wanted to see how many Masons were in the house. You know, whatever. And they said, I mean, if you Google it, they only show a couple, but what you don't know is that they've been in the house the entire time. So Mason put it up, and one thing that I found about the Masons, all Masons were behind every single thing that is of law. Ulysses S. Grant was an odd fellow. Ulysses S. Grant was an odd fellow, and he is behind the judicial system and the Justice Department. Okay, then of course we have George Washington that was behind the actual White House and the Constitution. It was revised about by the time we actually, because I mean, it might have been written by him and some of our forefathers, or they were some of our greats. They were inventors, philosophers, and everything else, whatnot. Okay, and they needed that, so they actually cooed them, and they're good smoozers. You know, they'll sit there and act like your friend and whatever not, and use other people of power, and they still do that to today. They make friends and stuff with you know, actors and very high people in high places, and they manipulate them and they use them as ever they see fit, and then you screw them kind of in the end. Okay, so they're users. Okay, they're users, abusers, and fake sorry losers. Okay, now these Masons have been in house. Now I swear, if you Google it, you will see that it's not that many. And then when I was studying, when I was younger in elementary school, I think it was like in 5th grade, I seen that there was a pattern going on, and they were always in there. I was like, dude, how can so many people? This is way back then. How can so many presidents? You know, it's just something that I seen. Like, you know, I thought it was kind of just odd or kind of crazy that out of all the United States and about, you know, back then, I don't know how many there were. They kept on getting, it was Masons that kept on going to the house. And then I studied the Masons, and I just didn't like what I seen. That they were like anti-Christ, and they were completely anti-God, and their rituals and things that they were doing and stuff whatnot. And then I guess they tried to pull a coup on something some time ago. They got caught and they got ran out of the country, and they went under. After that, they came back in the light. Like we're something different and about this and that, whatever. We adhere to their thing about this and that, whatever, which is cool. And then people accepted them, and now they're all over the world. And in our White House, and George Washington was one of them. Okay, now the Masons, I don't know. I mean, seriously, they're the same thing. I actually have letters from Ulysses S. Grant, and he's an Oddfellow, that actually proves that the Oddfellows and the old Masons and everything are still in full effect. All the houses around the world, and they're very vain motherfuckers. They love their lodges. They love everything about themselves. And they've been using our government and the power and stuff to fucking enforce their lodge. I mean, because, dude, Mason might be one thing. You're part of a cult and shit. That's cool. But you can't fucking use our government to fucking enforce like a little man lodge and shit with not a, and fucking, you know, it's like Al Bundy in his garage with his fucking, with his, it's a man lodge. It's a fucking cult. It's like a Manson family and shit. We're not in the mountains or whatever the fuck. You're just a little group of fucking people that are just, you've been around for a long time. You've been around since pre-Christ. And yeah, dude, you can't sit there and put yourself in the house, put up the house, and then put yourself in the house, or basically put up the White House and make it one power, and pull your Mason cult into it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't meant for your cult. You know, it is meant for the United States people. So you put up the White House, and that was George Washington. You know, that little cherry tree chopping motherfucker. Yeah, that guy, that fucking president that put it up. And then I started researching further, which is recently for my book. I found that pretty much the Masons have been in the house at all times. Okay, it was first, if it wasn't for the president in the front, it was first George Washington, and I think maybe the second term, or I'm not really sure, but up to the third terms, there was the vice president that was in the second term. He was a Mason. So if it wasn't a president, it was a vice president. So they rotate, and sometimes it was both. As a matter of fact, let me get my notes. I'm going to be right back. All these videos are going to be connected. I have to keep them under 30 minutes. But I'm going to get my notes, and then I'm going to record exactly what Mason did what, and you guys are going to be tripped the fuck out about exactly what they did, what they were known for, and how they gained their master masonry to make it to presidency. And this is Benjamin Barron saying out.